sitting here with Chan and Andrew, and you are teachers from Singapore. Chan, can you please tell us which subjects do you teach?
I teach biology for the 17 and 18 years old.
And you, Andrew?
I teach physics for 16 and 17 years old.
And you have worked as teacher for how long?
Almost 6 years.
About the same as well.
6 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would like to talk to you a little about the PISA results.
Yes.
I think you've been here in Sweden now for this week, participating in the conference we have, the Wintercamp. It's ASEAN+3 for the gifted in science that are held in Nacka Gymnasium. So I think you have also visited some Swedish schools and met some Swedish teachers and students. But if we look at the PISA results, we can see that your country, Singapore, is very high in the ranking, number 2. And the PISA results are in reading and mathematics and science. What do you think? Why do you think your students perform so well in these?
For mathematics, I would say that from young, when they're in primary school, there is a large emphasis on logical thinking. So some questions, especially to the older people in Singapore, they find them to be difficult. But when you speak to the educators, the ones who plan the questions, they say that it's all a matter of thinking, logical thinking. Yeah. So the question in itself might seem tough, but there are questions which are advanced skills. I mean, in primary school, they don't really learn algebra yet, for example. They have other methods to get the same answer, and that's what they are trying to inculcate in the students. So from a very young age, they are trained in logical thinking. So if they do well in maths, science will usually follow, because the train of thought, logical thinking is about the same. So that's one area I think that we're strong in.
So from early age, with the logical thinking in mathematics.
Yes.
That is a key question.
Yes.
What do you think, Sean?
I think also to think a little bit further, we talk about, a lot of studies have shown about the importance of preschool studies.
Yeah.
Right? So I think in Singapore, with the emphasis of education, our students at least our parents actually push for early starts. Yeah, to get them trained or get them acquainted with reading and even problem solving. So I think that is why when they get to primary school, quite a number of them actually have a better grasp of the whole system, the subjects. But I will also say that it really depends on, it could depend on the social economic background of the parents.
In general, to get these good results, the PISA results are in, as we said, reading and mathematics and science, but we also have other subjects. What do you think is very important for education system
I think
to get these good results? I think we all want.
We have it in science, but I believe this is also common across all subjects, is that understanding is key. So understanding is more important than trying to memorize facts. Understanding, and then after understanding, being able to break down what you understand, to create new knowledge, to analyze new situations and things like that. So that is very key in science. Yeah. So I would suppose that for other subjects, it could be on a similar level as well.
But even in Singapore, I think you see some challenges with your education system.
Oh, yes.
You are very good and performing well. What do you think you have? What challenges do you have?
I think the definition of doing well, that is one thing that people are struggling with now. Right? Is doing well merely about grades and getting into a good university? Because grades only measure one aspect of a child's development, but there are many areas, many other interests that are not taught in school, that may not necessarily have appeared in a child at a younger age. These things are lost. Yeah, and increasingly now we have specialized schools that focus on art, schools that focus on, we have a school that focuses on maths and sciences. So we are trying to capture capture the other aspects of education that the mainstream schools do not have. So I think this is the challenge. What exactly is good?
What do you think, John?
I think it's quite standard. I think so. For example, like as with current new policy, for example, say moving away from grades, but the parents may not want that. So yeah, they wanted to continue with it because for them it is an a verification of what they've put in for the kids. The amount of investment could be, the amount of effort they help to bring up their kids, and kind of So for that.
So, but gradually they're moving away. For example, now in the primary 1 and primary 2, that's the 7 and 8-year-old kids. They do away with their examinations.
They don't get grades.
No, not now. Yeah. That's
And you think that is a positive?
I think so. Yeah. So, previously they used to announce who are the top scholars, which schools the top scholars are from. But about 1 or 2 years ago, the ministry decided that we will not announce this. We will not make it public. We will not go to the press. And parents are very uncomfortable because then they're saying, how do we know where our child stands? You know, there's always a comparison.
But do you think this is a good thing?
I think it's good.
You don't want these official comparisons between schools and the grades. So you think
It's good.
why is that to focus more on the learning? Or?
I think that is one part of it. I mean, eventually parents will compare among themselves and get the scores. But the key thing is that if the government does not publicize it, then it shows that they are no longer, there's some effect that they're no longer focused on it. Whereas if the government always publicize this and say, we want to congratulate these few who have done so well, then okay, if the government does that, the people should follow. Yeah. So when the government doesn't do it, then it kind of changes our direction, which I think is good.
I'd also like to ask you a couple of questions about what you've seen this week here in Sweden.
Okay. Yeah.
If we start, I know you haven't seen so much, but on behalf of what you have seen, what do you think we can do to improve our teaching, learning? Do you have something you can say? I think we should focus on this.
From what I gather, listening from yesterday's workshop, the panel speakers, and I spoke to a few of the student guides who helped us, the system here is rather liberal in the sense that the students really do have quite a bit of autonomy or choice about what they want to do, when they want to leave school, as in like after I think it's the 9th grade, they can leave school. So, one of the students did tell me also that they feel that such autonomy, there may be too much autonomy for students at a young age. So maybe if the autonomy could be pushed to a later age, it will help a little bit. Especially sometimes when the students are young, they don't really have a very strong inclination to study. Not all of them, but they usually keep being kids. They want to have fun. Yeah. So they want to do homework, they want to study. This time I would like to play. I see my adults and parents, they go out to work. I also want to go out to work. I don't want to study anymore. But of course, gradually along the way, some when they get older, they may regret. Yeah. So I think children still need a guidance to a certain age. Yeah. As they grow up, we can give them more freedom of choice. But perhaps the age at which they get the more freedom of choice could be at an old age.
What do you think, John? Is there anything you think that you have seen that has been interesting, that you can learn of, that you think is working very well here?
I think the interesting thing is to see, the flip side of it, the freedom of choice, and how students do actually experiment on their own. Like we did the lesson observations in the class and see how, as I asked the teachers, right, so what do you teach before this? The teacher taught lessons that are related, that would lead up to the experiment, but there was no content that was directly related to the experiment that was taught beforehand. So students really do get a chance to discover for themselves. So I think
that's positive.
That's the positive thing. Yeah. But how much freedom to give the students, I think that is the one we need to control. So yeah. So in the sense that what we've seen in Sweden here is a lot more liberty than in Singapore. So it's an eye-opener to see how it actually works out.
And you think that can be a positive thing?
It can be positive, yeah, and depends on how we control it.
I also think that it really depends. I think different schools operate quite differently as well. So, because our Singapore school, we do have a lot of autonomy, right, depending on the student's capability. So, I do know of some schools that is quite free-hand as well in Singapore. But like you said, sometimes too free, if you give up too much freedom, the student do have a lot of difficulty when it comes to their yeah, they really, it takes them much longer to actually get the concept. Well, for some students, having them, they do need a lot more scaffold than others. So I think, yesterday I wasn't around for the game, so I missed out on quite a time for the discussion. But
Closing
Yeah.
ceremony just 50 minutes, and that is the closing ceremony for this conference.
Yes.
So I think I just want to thank you very much for coming. I really enjoyed your staying here, the discussions and workshops and so on. So thank you very much.
thank you for having us.
Thank you.